כל השונה הלכות בכל יום, מובטח לו שהוא בן העולם הבא. בעזרת השם, today, the 28th of Tishri, Erev Shabbat Kodesh, Friday, the 6th day of the week of Parashat Shabbat Bereshit, Besimana Tova, Bezat Hashem. There is so much limud in the parasha in itself, but we're going to be discussing now the 47th mitzvah and 48th mitzvah. 47th mitzvah tells us that Beit Din is obligated to enact a capital punishment of strangulation, chenek, for various sins. As it says, Makeh ish vamed mot yumat. A person strikes another man, he shall be put to death. And mot yumat, we'll learn, it means actually strangulation by din, a capital punishment for an individual who commits murder. And mitzvah number 48, you're not allowed to hit your father and or your mother. Same thing. If a person, shalom, is prohibited from hitting his father and mother, mitzvah number 48, we'll be discussing even causing a little bruise, that could be constitute a hit, and therefore he will be punished by death, also strangulations, mot yumat. Anywhere we'll see the word mot yumat, we'll learn right now, will indicate that means strangulation in the Torah. Bezat Hashem, as we already discussed earlier, the Torah tells us in one place not to murder, and here it tells us do murder. So what is going on? How is Torah sometimes doing this, saying that, sometimes saying that? So each, of course, everything is within the context. So Bezrat Hashem, with that we're going to start today's limud. Again, we want to be magdishat limud לרפואה שלמה לכל הפצועים, לעילוי נשמת כל הנפגעים, all the people who were murdered with the attack, and also רפואה שלמה those who were harmed. And of course, the most important, unfortunate situation where we have captive shivuim. Am Israel is the most precious thing. We want to take back the shivuim as much as possible. So I hope the government, the faulty government of Israel, that against Torah, unfortunately, hopefully that they have clear that there is no price for a Jew, especially civilians who are not part of an army, not part of that intricate game of armies. But Bezrat Hashem, all of them should Hashem on his own. Don't rely on the government. Don't rely on anybody. Hashem on his own should put fear in the captives, all those Jews that are captive now, in the heads of those the captive, a fear of some sort, and they should run away from all the captives. Leave the doors open, leave their windows open, let them come out. And Bezrat Hashem, we should be celebrating with them in the table of Shabbat. Bezrat Hashem, Hashem it's what Yeshivath Hashem ke'erev ayin. And Bezrat Hashem, Am Israel is doing great things, and let's just learn l'refuatam. Mitzvah number 47. Mitzvot Beit Din la'arog bechenek ha'mechuyav. There's an obligation on the Beit Din to kill a person who is obligated to be killed. A person who has committed a crime, and the Beit Din, as we said already, in the time of the Bet HaMikdash, in the time of where we had such a concept of Beit Din, every city had a Beit Din of 23 that was in charge of capital punishments. So if a Beit Din kills somebody because of their sin, of any sin that requires capital punishment, and if it happened once in 70 years even, the Beit Din would be branded as a murderer's Beit Din. The solution would be is to take apart that Beit Din and to rebuild a new one. As we said, that's what we do all over the world. If a government is corrupt, you take apart the government and you don't put the agents who were part of the corrupt government back. Will be corrupt again. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works here in America. If the government is corrupt, they take apart certain aspects and they try to rebuild the next. No. If the head is the snake is poisoned, everything is poisoned. I don't know why they're playing games. Anybody who was part of Governor Cuomo, for instance, the corruption that he was involved, anybody who is involved with him should be taken out. You can't appoint his attorney general or whatever his assistant to be a next governor. It doesn't make sense. If he's corrupt, obviously his followers will be corrupt. And everybody should be get rid of. Once there is a resignation or forced resignation of a governor, the entire government should be thrown into election, and that's it. There's no choice. You can't have this evil permeate itself just because he's out, so you think it's fine. No, it's not. She's more worse. Anybody has been seen already. The next person from the same cabinet that's taking over, it's nothing close, nothing even better. Chas v'shalom. So with Hashem's help, here we had Mr. Kennedy was assassinated, and what happened was who took over? His vice president. His vice president took over. What kind of nonsense is this? Right? If there was somebody went out and assassinated the president, so they made us think that some person. It was organization. It was people who didn't like what the president was doing. So obviously, the next guy will be afraid to do what the president was doing. Even his vice president will be afraid. And so it was. The history tells us that the next president after John Kennedy reversed everything John Kennedy was trying to do, because he was already in fear. If he got killed, why wouldn't I get killed? So the best thing would be is to throw the country into a re-election. You get a new person, and let there be somebody who's going to be doing exactly what Kennedy did or not. But if you see, that's what corruption is all about. There's LaHaShem in the Torah. There is no corruption. Everything is open and open. We don't afraid to say even mistakes of Avraham Avinu, even mistakes of Moshe Rabbeinu to teach us lessons. Mistakes of the Avod, mistakes of the Shvatim. Everything is written down to teach us that we have to be perfecting ourselves. There's no lying around. There's no playing, no weaseling around. Unfortunately, the Goyim are totally different. They think they're going to hide the deficiencies of their leaders, and therefore the world will be perfect. That's not true. From the deficiencies, we learn the perfection. That's how we come. So therefore, we have a rule over here. Every city had a Beit Din of 23. And Beit Din was not allowed to kill just like that. They'll have to look for any excuse not to murder. However, the Mitzvah 47 commands them that if everything was tried, everything they did through, they went through all the steps that the Torah guides us with, the Torah tells us how to enact this punishment, and now unfortunately they have to kill this person. He slept with a married woman. He hit his parents. There's a lot of avirot that include of strangulation. Let's see. שנצטווינו להמית העוברים על קצת מצוות שבתורה בחנק. The Torah obligates us to, unfortunately, to come to the end and murder a person who has committed certain crimes with strangulations. There are 4 types of murders, as we already mentioned before many times. So this was one of them. One of the acts of Beit Din's capital punishment is by strangulations. We'll see now what that means. It says in Torah, Shmot chapter 21, Pasuk 12, Makeh ish v'met mot yumat. The Torah tells us, anyone who smites a person who has died. Yeah, you kill the person, v'met mot yumat. Now the murderer has to be murdered by a Beit Din. V'zo shel makah ish achad mehen shemitatan b'chenek. Rabbi says this is one of the ways that a person murdered somebody. His capital punishment will be with strangulation. Harek tuv bo mot yumat, because it says clearly he shall be put to death. What does that mean, put to death? If you sages told us in 52nd page in Sanhedrin, the second side, Kol mitam rabba Torah stam ena elachenet. Now, anywhere in the Torah that the Torah did not elaborate the capital punishment, the format of capital punishment, then the Torah really means strangulation. Okay. Now, you might say, the Rabbi just interjects over here, they put it in brackets, they put it in parentheses, that we're learning also another important thing. There is no such a thing as in the Torah paying your way out, right? Today, maybe the jail system is a payment of out, right? They decided, why should we kill a murderer? Let him sit in jail in work and the work for the community, like perform small tasks, creating license plates for the city. Instead of murdering the guy, let him work for the city. And the Torah is very much against such a thing. Obviously, as we see, the end result is the guy sits in jail for 20, 25 years. He comes out even a worse murderer. Okay, even worse evil behavior. I already did 25 years in jail. Why do I care if anything else happens to me, right? So he becomes even more criminal. There are movies and movies and movies about true life stories of individuals who are criminals, the life criminals. The Torah tells us there is no such a thing. Nobody's allowed to sit in jail. The only time we put somebody in jail is until he will wait until his punishment of death, until his punishment is carried out. This is beyond me. This is mind-boggling. This whole concept of jail, people sitting in jail for years, they're coming up worse criminals. And in jail, they murder people who are less criminals. You put somebody in jail for murder with somebody who's put in jail, somebody who stole $100 from the bank. And the guy who stole $100 from the bank obviously was a white-collar criminal. And what's his name? Obviously, gentle person. Probably, never saw a hammer in his life. Never picked up a hammer, maybe. And here he is in a jail cell with this murderer. And this murderer rapes him and does other criminal things to him because the murderer doesn't care. He has a life sentence. He'll do even worse. He doesn't care. But now what you did is instead of having this guy who stole $100 go work and pay back the $100, you put him in jail. Now you kill the guy. You're a murderer. So it comes out to be the system of criminal system could be a worse murderer than the act in itself, but that you're trying to punish him. The Torah is the most just punishing criminals with exact punishment without any questions, and God loves it, and only through justice. But this is frivolity, putting a guy who stole $100 in the same jail facility where the guy is a murderous rapist, and they commit vile acts to these people. Hashem Rachem. Hashem should have mercy on us. Shoresh mitzvah zo nigalei lakol. Everybody understands why a murderer that has to have capital punishment has to be killed. Ki melech b'mishpat yamid haaretz. We have to know, the Rabbi says, that the world stands on justice and on judgment. She'ilulei irat hamishpat yargu b'nei adam zeh et zeh. For if the people will not have a fear of judgment, people will be devouring and killing each other. Al ken tzivanu ha'el baruch hu le'amit harotzeach. Therefore, the Torah commands us that we shall murder a murderer. Ubechmochmato baruch hu ra'ah shera'ui la'anosh oto b'mitat heneg. And because Hashem is wise, the best punishment he befitted a person who is a murderer with strangulation. But davar na'od gam ledatenu anu. So too, it's just for us to have clear for our minds. Just like what he did shall be done to him. Now the point is, a person who is murdering another individual, the point is over there to kill him right away so he doesn't strike him back and kill him. So too, the Torah was very merciful, and Torah said, you know what, kill him with strangulation, because we know that through strangulation, when you stop the person from breathing, it's the easiest way and fastest way to kill him. Not through burning him, and not to stoning him. Those two punishments are with a great suffering. בעולם במשפטי הזימה שנהנו העוברים בעבירה ונמשכה הנעת קצת, תבוא בהן פעמים שריפה ופעמים סקילה. However, בעולם במשפטי הזימה, in the judgments of frivolity of znut, of what Torah calls immorality, those sometimes will have burning and sometimes will have stoning, because there is a pleasure in their act. So since they're having a pleasure in their act, they're not hastening to finish a person who commits adultery, not hastening to finish. He wants it to last as long as possible, the pleasure of his adultery. As we'll learn later, a person who, chas v'shalom, sleeps with his relatives, that he's forbidden to sleep, he will be burned. A person who sleeps with a married woman, he will be in something else. Also, most of the times, sometimes will be also strangulation, but in some cases will be burned. In the case of a woman who's the daughter of a Kohen. What about a woman who is betrothed? Somebody commits adultery with a betrothed woman. He will be stoned, it says over there in the Torah. As we already, again, so the Torah has just punishments of the Torah are the just, and it's only very, very unfortunate American standard today to abolish capital punishment, which would have we did save America for many years, and right now it's a free for all, unfortunately. דיני המצווה כיצד כגון מה שאמרו זיכרונם לברכה, שמשקיעים את המחויב בזבל עד ארכובותיו, וכורחין סודר קשה לתוך הרקה, על צווארו, זה מושך אצלו וזה מושך אצלו, עד שנפשו יוצא בתר בתיה מבוארים בפרק זה בסנהדרין. So, now what's the rules? How do they perform this strangulation in the Beit Din? So he says that they feel his stomach, they let him drink. What do they let him drink? המחויב חנק בזבל עד ארכובתו, כדי ברקב, כדי שלא יוכל לזוז. So they put inside what שמשקיעין את המחויב חנק בזבל עד ארכובותיו, ברכב, כדי שלא יוכל לזוז. וכורחין את סודר כאשר לתוך הרקה. So what they do is they put him in like some kind of situation. They tie him up all the way up to the knees or some certain way that he cannot move. So basically he will not be able to move, or they maybe prepare some kind of saddle where he sits and they tie him so he doesn't move. And then they put a rope around his neck, and a witness pulls from this side and another witness pulls from the other side, and they pull the rope out this way around his neck, and this way he doesn't have no more air to breathe and he just dies. But he's restrained, so he shouldn't be moving and last longer the death, to prolong the punishment. Therefore, they just put him in a position, they tie him up a certain way that he doesn't be able to move. Boom, they pull from each side, and he chokes from not having any air in his lungs. Of course, capital punishment of strangulation only is allowed to be administered in Eretz Israel. We're not allowed to judge capital punishment outside of the land. However, you have to note that the Goyim have to have these punishments around them, and then they have to have their own judgment and capital punishment. Just because we don't do it, we the Jews are prohibited because we don't have sovereignty all over the world. But the Goyim, remember, the Torah is for everybody. Torah is for everybody. Torah restricts us, the Jews, not to enact certain punishments outside of the land of Israel. But the Goyim, they have no problem. They should do it. They should strangle people and they should kill people, even stoning, if that's the punishment, if that's what, unfortunately. But not like those Goyim that have this idea that 1 billion, as I always say, 1 billion reasons not to kill and one reason to kill, they'll kill. No, not those Goyim should be in charge, obviously. Goyim that have sensitivity, that have followed the rules. Anyone who has in his hands ability to do justice, and he doesn't, God will punish him for grave sin. For people not do not fear justice, they will be swallowing each other, as we see in New York. In New York, I already said it's asur to live in New York or any blue state that has the law of you're allowed to steal up to a certain amount of money without any repercussion, and then what happens is people who defend themselves are the criminals now. Hashem should have mercy on us. So that city, you should run away. It's asur to live. There is no heter. I should say there is no heter to live in New York or any blue state in America that has the frivolous lawsuits, frivolous law that defending yourself is criminality. Steal up to $1,000 is okay. Shem Rachem, you should run away from those kind of cities. Ramban zal lo yimne zot mitzvah becheshbono. So Ramban argues on Rambam, and he really says that the capital punishment is one mitzvah in the Torah, and the format of capital punishment, it's not each one of the mitzvah. However, Rambam argues on Ramban and says not true. Every capital punishment is a mitzvah on its own. Okay, that's the machloket throughout the entire chinuch we will be facing many times. Mitzvah number 48. There is a prohibition on a man to hit his father and the mother. Chas v'shalom. Shelo yakeh ben ha'av ben ha'em. A man is prohibited to hit his father or mother. V'afilo im hem yaku oto haka'ah rabah. Even if his parents beat him up as much as possible. B'chol zman. Shelo yisu nafsham lahamito. As long as they're not coming to kill him, if they're hitting him, it's okay. As we know, we're already going to learn. We learned already many times. We're going to say it again and again. It's a mitzvah to hit your children, because until the 12 and 13, the 12 girls and 13 the boys, they don't have Eitzer Tov. The parents are the Eitzer Tov, and it's a mitzvah to hit them, to hit the children, so they become better and better, to take away the Eitzer Hara, to take away the evil inclination, because they don't have a good idea in their mind. They might, we were trying very hard to brainwash them since birth with a lot of cartoons and movies to tell them what's good, what's not good. It only lasts for that moment that they watch the cartoon or movie, or the child. When you only talk to them, that only lasts the talk time. So therefore, the Eitzer Tov is not there. There is no good inclination. The parents are the good inclination. Now, if the child is misbehaving, and the parent should never show anger and should beat up, put him on his belly and whip him on his butt. Why not? It's a mitzvah, as it says in the Torah. Yaser bincha. It says, Shlomo Melech said, "Hit your child; he should give you pleasure." It's a good thing. Unfortunately, David HaMelech didn't hit his child, and we ended up with what? Avshalom wanted to kill David HaMelech, as it says. If you don't hit your child, he'll come to hurt you later. However, a child should know when he's being hit by his parents, it's for restraining him and getting him back on his place. However, the Torah tells us that if a child hits his parents back, Shneimar, it says in Shemot chapter 21, pasuk 15, if a child hits his parent back, he shall know that he will be punished by death if he causes them bruise. Again, that's why the Torah tells us specifically, children after 13 and 12, you should not hit. You should not hit your children after 12 and 13. First of all, they're already adults, so you have no right to hit them. You're not allowed to hit any adult. Okay, you could talk to them. Now they have a tzertov. You could say a nice thing to them, make them understand. That's your job. Okay. However, if also another thing is when you're hitting them after 12 and 13, you're causing them to react, and they're gonna hit you back. Once they hit you back, they did Avirah. You caused them to do the Avirah. Even though you did cause them to do the Avirah, as the Rabbi says here, and they hit you, they will be punished no matter what. They will be punished, and if they do a bruise, God forbid, to the parents, they will have to be killed. As it says in the Torah, chapter 21, 15, anyone who strikes his father or mother will be killed, shall be killed by the Beit Din. Even though, the Rabbi says another very important lesson, in the Torah you cannot punish anything, any punishment done by Beit Din. The Torah has to warn you both sides, meaning first the Torah tells you there is a prohibition, and then the Torah tells you the punishment. Over here the Torah never tells you don't hit your parents. The Torah tells you right away, if you hit the parent, you get killed. So where's the warning? The Torah told you the punishment without giving you a warning, that you'll be killed for hitting them. The Gemara will ask this question, what's going on here? How is this possible? That we're going to punish a person with murder, capital punishment, without giving him a warning? גם בזה יש לנו אזהרה, שהרי אנו מוזהרין על כל איש מישראל שלא להכות אותו, שכתוב במי שנתחייב מלכות. Understand you? The Torah did actually warn you already. Another place, the Torah told you you're not allowed to hit any human being. So The Torah told you not allowed to hit any human being. Of course, the Torah is talking about parents. What kind of question is this? You're not allowed to hit anybody. So over there, the Torah tells you you're not allowed to hit anybody. Now you are warned. However, if you hit another Jew, if you didn't kill him, there is a monetary punishment. But here the Torah came and told you no. Over here, even if you didn't kill your parents, as long as you caused them any harm, any bruise even, right? Over there also the Torah tells us, even the Beit Din is not allowed to over-excess the punishment. The Torah tells us specifically in the Devarim, chapter 25, Pasuk 3, that you're not allowed to add to the punishment prescribed by the Torah. And specifically, you're not allowed to hit anyone who the Beit Din didn't allow you to hit. So you go in the street and you start a fight. You hit him, you broke his teeth, you have to pay for his teeth. He hit you, he knocked your eye out, he has to pay you for that eye. There is no, he started. There's no such thing in Torah. Who started? You, what's his name? If it's unless somebody coming to harm you, maybe, yes, somebody coming to harm you, to hurt you, and to harm you, you ought to defend yourself. Right? But this, I'm not talking about that. What I was going on, the kids, high school kids, they just start to fight, harming each other. Okay? Or bullying each other. That's a horrible thing. And both should be paying each other damages. Now, however, where a person is coming to attack you, you're obligated to defend yourself. And if you defend yourself and you harm him in the defense, then you're obviously patur, you're not obligated to pay him anything. That's not what I meant. Sorry. Okay, anyway. The Torah tells us that the father and the mother are included in the all Jews, you're not allowed to hit, as it says in the Torah. And the warning on the parents is from here. The Torah doesn't have to tell you specifically, don't hit your parents. The Torah told you, don't hit anybody. Even though the Torah tells us that over there in the Beit Din, when they punish somebody, they shouldn't add to the punishment. It's its own sin. מכל מקום, הרי כלל בידינו שכל שיש בו כרת או מיתה יש בו לאו חוץ מפסח ומילה. Okay? Even though שיש בו כרת או מיתה יש בו לאו חוץ מפסח ומילה, והכת אב ואם הרי יש בו כרת בלא עדים ומיתה בעדים. Oh, so what happened is over there, like this, that anyone who smites his parents without witnesses, we have a rule. Over there, the rule is he will get ripped apart, his soul will be ripped apart, he will be punished anyway, without witnesses. With the witnesses, he gets killed in the Beit Din. But over here, there's a karet for hitting your parent without witnesses. ועל כן, יש לנו לומר על כל פנים שנלמד אזהרה בו מקרא דלא יוסיף אחר שלא מצאנו במקום אחר. So therefore, we're going to learn from this pasuk, even though where the Torah tells us that the Beit Din may not add to the punishment, it's its own prohibition. Still, we could learn onto the prohibition of hitting your parent, because hitting the parent is even more deeper, as we said. Without witnesses, there is a harsher thing, there's a karet. So, so that will be a general rule, warning for hitting any Jew, but especially hitting a parent will be also included in that warning. So now, what constitutes to kill the child for hitting his parents? What are we talking about here? What has to happen from that striking? It says in Sanhedrin, page 85, second side, this is specifically talking when there is blood coming out from that hit. However, other people, if you cause them to bleed and you didn't kill them, you have to pay for the damage, for the harm that you caused. But the parents, if you made them bleed, chas v'shalom, there you will be chayav mitah, be punished by death. B'shusha mitzvah, what are the rules? What's going on in the foundation of this mitzvah? Liyaser ha'nebalim ha'mosrim she'arimu yad b'mi she'aviyam la'olam chas v'shalom. What are we talking about here? A person raises his hands to comprehend on his parents who brought him to this world, to comprehend such a thing, to talk against your parents, to raise your hands on them. Come on, tovod, and the parents, people don't understand. You should have this in mind. 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I remember, there was a case on the news. It was all over plastered, all over the news, plastered all over the news. Here in, I think it was Philadelphia, a couple, I don't know if it's Jewish, sounded like a Jewish names, but a man and a woman, they were both drug addicts. They were both druggies. And the police came to their house because some reason, I don't know what happened there. Somehow they got into their house. They found a baby. Their baby, they just had a baby, a month old, sitting in a crib. Not a crib, sorry. Sitting on a chair, the high chair, in his diaper. They found maggots in his number 2. The baby was dead. Shem Rachem, I'm sorry to be so graphic, but they found a baby, the maggots eating him up, the flies, and he was with his diaper sitting on the high chair that put father and mother in jail instead of giving them treatment. They murdered this baby by not changing his diaper. Okay? And the baby just died on the chair, sitting there. What happened? I don't know. It was a horrible scene. Horrible idea. I didn't see the pictures, but I saw. But just imagine such a thing. A child. So imagine your parents change your diapers, cleaned you, made sure you don't have a rash, which is hell. I blame. I'm so angry at any nursing home, any baby centers. Change your diapers right away. You know what harm you causing to the child? Causing him harm. That the number 2, the acid, eats up the skin. I was privileged. I grew up without a diapers. I was privileged to grow up without a diaper. My parents, they washed me. Bye-bye. They cleaned the cloth, took it off right away, and finished. Shem Erachem, we have a diaper. Hashem made it easy for you. He made a diaper. Change the diaper, for crying out loud, right away. And this is what your parents did to you. They cared for you. You were alive. You were healthy. Standing over here. You're going to hit him? God forbid. After that, the Torah tells us, Chas v'shalom, to be such a person, to be kfui tova, to not to be thankful to parents. Now, not every smiley. What about dinei mitzvah kegon makeu lachar mita shepatur? What about a person hits his parents after they're dead? Okay, that's different. It didn't cause them harm. V'ikau al osno v'chersho shechayav mita. What about a child who hit him in a year and caused them to be deaf? That also punishment of capital punishment. It's impossible that the blood didn't come out. It's inside a year. What about a child? First of all, this is a very important rule. A doctor, if he has no choice to cause a bleeding to his parent, then only if there's no choice. But there's other doctors, no problem. Let the other doctors do it. But he's not allowed to do it himself. If there's no choice, he has to do harm to his parent through medicate him. It's not a problem. But not, chas v'shalom, we have to say here that a doctor cannot do preventative to check his blood to see if he has cancer, or to save him from colon cancer, which he doesn't have, or to go in there. Those things will be prohibited for any Jew, let alone a child performing it on his father. You're not allowed to do this kind of things. Go to a doctor, draw blood to see if you're not healthy. You're healthy, leave him alone. Oh, in America they decided they need more money after 40 years. Everybody up to 40-year-old, that's it. You have to go to check, make sure they screen you. Hello, don't cause you, every time they go in you, they cause you harm. It's a lie. A person is not allowed to see a doctor unless he has harm. If you don't have harm, there is no reason for you to go to a doctor that will penetrate you, that will go in and harm you, that will be invasive. A needle, just a needle in the arm. All those people that are running to get the shots that will protect them from this, shot that will protect them from that. You know, those experimental jabs that they call saving people. They're not saving anything. They're murderers. They're harming people. You're not allowed to put yourself in harm's way. It's prohibited according to Torah. You go to a doctor, the only time you're allowed to get treated if you're sick. That's what Torah tells us. But just to go to a doctor for the sake of going to a doctor and get harmed by a doctor, when they put a needle inside of you, they break 10 layers of protection on your skin. They're harming you. So the son is prohibited. There he will be hayav mitah from Shamayim. If a father comes to his son for a well visit and gets poked and cause dam, for sure he will be chayav mitah karet, no questions asked. Because there's no witnesses, there's no warning, and people today in America think it's normal. This is not what we're talking about. A son healing his father, it's only when there's no other choice, and that's the only solution. This prohibition is anywhere, at all time, doesn't matter, man, woman, even children who are not 100% designated, a man or a female, doesn't matter, everybody is included this prohibition. Anyone smites his child parents, that there is blood movement visible from this smite, if the witnesses warn him, he gets killed by strangulation. But if there is no, he just hit him, he would be obligated just like other people. If the pain is less than shave pruta, okay, over there, where he, like any other Jew, if you hit him and there is less than, if it's less than, if the hit does not have a monetary value, he gets lashed. But if there is a monetary value, the person pays and does not get slashed. So again, the rule is, if there is a monetary value damage, then he has to pay. But if there is no monetary damage value, then he just has to pay and doesn't get lashed. LaHaShem, Shabbat Shalom, have a wonderful Shabbat, and we will continue on Sunday. LaHaShem, Parashat Shabbat Noach. Shabbat Shalom.